Look, there's people here. I'm always surprised. All right, let's go ahead and start. I've got my really uplifting Bambi sweatshirt on too. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting here is so bad. Anyway, go ahead and come onto your mat. As usual, if you like to use a block or a strap or any other assistive devices, feel free to have them around you. Thanks for the reminder, let me just mute everybody. You can unmute yourself if you need to ask a question, or so we'll keep an eye on the chat. So if anybody has any questions and wants to type instead of talking, that's fine. If you have water nearby, that's good. We will need a small piece of wall a little bit later today, like something like the size of this bit of wall right here, which is only like this wide, would be sufficient. Yeah, so that's it. Like I said, come to a comfortable seated position and gently close your eyes. Go ahead and start taking some deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. And your next inhalation, just bring your arms up overhead, like you're trying to reach up to the sky. And maybe shrug your shoulders up towards your ears for a second, and then relax them back and down. And up towards your ears, and then back and down. And a couple more times, up, shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears, and then dropping them back and down. One more time, up towards your ears, and then dropping them back and down. Go ahead and bring your hands down to your sides. You can keep your eyes closed, or you can open them if you like. Go ahead and bend your right arm and bring your forearm to the ground. So you're kind of bending over to the side. And then bring your left arm up over your ear. And look gently up toward the sky or the ceiling. And gently push yourself back up. And then bring your left forearm to the ground next to your hip and bring your right arm over your ear and gently look up. And gently push yourself back up. Before we get into the rest of the practice, I just want to acknowledge that we're in a really challenging moment, and we had another reminder this week that Black people in this country are murdered for the color of their skin, and that's not what this class is about, but I don't feel like we can just pretend that's not happening. So I'm going to dedicate my practice to the family of George Floyd, and maybe there's someone you're thinking of today who's hurting, and maybe you want to keep that person just a little bit closer to your heart for the next hour and a half or so. If not, you don't have to, but just want to offer that for you. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our practice. So go ahead and come up to a standing position. We're going to start with our sun salutations as usual. So arms up to the sky and look up. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, lift your back up so it's parallel to the earth and look up. And exhaling, fold forward again. You're going to take your right leg to the back of your mat. So you're in a lunge. Take your left leg to the back of your mat, and now you're in a plank position with your shoulders over the top of your wrists. And then slowly come down to a push-up position, keeping your elbows in and keeping your body flat. Untuck your toes and bring your shoulders up and forward into an upward dog position. Tuck your toes under, push your bottom up toward the sky, and then push back to a downward dog position. So your heels are trying to come toward the ground. Your arms are straight in front of you with your fingers pointed forward. Your chin is tucked toward your chest, and you're trying to push your chest toward your thighs. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. One more breath. On your next inhale, bring your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward and place it in between your hands. Bring your left foot forward to meet your right and fold. And inhaling, come all the way up to standing. And exhale your hands to your heart center. Inhaling, raise your arms up to the sky and look up. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Exhale and fold. Take your left foot to the back of your mat, your right foot to the back of your mat, and you're in plank, and then come down into your push-up position. Untuck your toes and come into an upward facing dog. Your shoulders are down, away from your ears. Tuck your toes under. You can add another chaturanga here if you like, or go straight back into downward dog. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. On your next inhale, bring your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right foot forward and fold. And inhaling, come up to standing and look up. And then bring your hands to prayer at your heart. Inhaling, look up and lift your arms up. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Take your right foot to the back of the mat. Left foot to the back of the mat and come into a push-up position. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Remember, you're trying to push your hips up toward the sky, keeping your legs straight, and then trying to gently bring your heels closer to the mat. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. And you're pushing weight into the base of your palms. On your next inhale, take your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward. Bring your left foot forward and fold. And inhaling, come up to standing. And bring your hands to prayer your heart. Last round, inhaling. Lift your arms up to the sky. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. And take your left foot to the back of the mat, right foot to the back of the mat, and coming down to a push-up position. Inhaling to upward facing dog, and exhaling to downward facing dog. One more big breath. On your next inhale, take your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right foot forward and fold. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. And bring your hands to prayer. Now we'll go on to series B. So inhaling, you're going to sit your bottom down into chair. You can use your arms as a gauge for how low you want to be. Bring your arms up overhead. So your knees are over the top of your feet. You should still be able to see your toes, and your bottom is kind of coming down toward the ground, just like you're sitting in a chair, and you're trying to keep your chest upright if you can. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhale and look up. Exhale, take your right foot to the back of the mat, left foot to the back of the mat. Come into a push-up position. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky. Put your right foot forward. Spin your left heel down, and you're going to come up into warrior one. So your front knee is over the top of your ankle. Your back leg is straight with your toes angled in, 45 to 60 degrees. You're trying to sit your hips down toward the ground to bring your front thigh parallel to the earth, and your hips are facing forward. Your hands can come up to the sky. They can clasp if you like, or they can stay shoulder width apart. Exhaling, hands on either side of the foot. Take that right foot to the back of your mat. Come into a push-up position. Inhaling to upward dog, and exhaling back to downward dog. Take your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Spin the right heel down. And now we've got warrior one on this side. So again, trying to bring that front thigh parallel to the earth. Keeping the back leg straight, you're pushing weight to the outer edge of that back thigh. Keeping your hips facing forward. Bring your hands up to the sky for one breath. And exhale, hands on either side of that left foot. Left foot goes to the back of the mat. Come down into a push-up. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward facing dog, and we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Inhale your right leg to the sky. Bring your right foot forward. Bring your left foot forward and fold. And then sit your bottom down again into chair for just one breath. Exhale and fold again. And then inhale, come all the way up to standing and bring your hands to prayer at the heart. I'm just going to take off my sweatshirt. Inhaling, you're going to sit your bottom down again to chair and bring your arms up to the sky. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhale and look up. Exhale, take your left foot to the back of the mat, right foot to the back of the mat, and come into a push-up position. Inhaling to upward facing dog. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Take your left leg to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right heel down and come up into warrior one on this side. Exhaling, hands on either side of that left foot to the back of the mat. Push-up position. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward dog, right leg to the sky. Bring your right leg forward. Turn your left heel down. Come up into warrior one. Exhaling, hands on either side of that foot. Right foot goes back. Come down into a push-up position. Inhaling to upward dog. Exhaling to downward facing dog. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. So you can try to bring your armpits down toward the ground, which will also push your chest more towards your thighs. On your next inhale, take your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right foot forward. And sit your bottom down into chair. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, come all the way up to standing. And bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Inhaling, sit your bottom down into chair. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, take your right leg to the back of the mat, left leg to the back of the mat, and just stay here in plank for a second. So we're going to just bring our right leg in, keeping your body in plank. So you're going to bring your right leg in towards your chest, towards your nose even. And then exhale, And push back into downward dog and then take that right leg up to the sky. And then come forward again, bring that right leg forward, and then bring it up to your right armpit or elbow. And then push back and take that right leg up to the sky. And come forward again, bring the right leg with you, and take that right knee to your left elbow. And then push back, take that right leg up to the sky. And come forward one more time, bring that right knee forward, swivel that left heel down, and we're in warrior one. And exhale, hands on either side of that foot. Take that foot back, and now we're gonna repeat that sequence on the other side. So your left knee is gonna come forward. And then you're gonna push your hips up, take that left leg up to the sky, and then come forward to plank again, bring that left knee with you, and bring it up to your left armpit or elbow. And then push back into downward dog with that left leg up in the sky. Come forward with that left knee again into plank, and bring that left knee to the right elbow or armpit. And then push back into downward dog with a raised left leg. And then come forward again, bring that left knee forward, swivel that right heel down, warrior one. Exhaling, hands on either side of that foot. That foot goes back, come into push-up position, come into upward dog. And then exhale to downward facing dog. One more breath here. Raise your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right foot forward. And then sit your bottom down in a chair. Exhaling, fold forward. And inhaling, come all the way up to standing. Now, that's it for Series B. Now we're going to go into the rest of our vinyasa practice. So inhaling, hands up to the sky. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Take your right leg to the back of the mat. Left leg to the back of the mat. And just stay here in plank for a second. We're going to do what's called hollow body plank, just for a second. So basically you're in your normal plank position, and you push your shoulder blades up to the sky. So you notice I'm not coming forward or moving back, just pushing my shoulder blades up. So it's carving out my front body. You just stay there for a couple of breaths. It's like you're trying to get your shoulder blades to push up all the way to the ceiling. And your tailbone is tucked. On your next exhale, come down to a push-up position. Untuck your toes and come into upward facing dog. And exhaling, push your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Now from here, you're going to take your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward. Keep your back heel lifted up, so don't turn it down toward the ground, just lift it up. And now you're in this lunge position or crescent. So your front knee is in the same position as it is in warrior one. Your knee is over the top of your ankle. This thigh is trying to get parallel to the earth. The back leg is straight if you can, and the heel is pointed up. Your hips are facing forward, and your hands can come up to the sky. They can be clasped or not. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. See if you can sink your hips down just a little bit lower. If you like, you can start to add a little bit of a back bend here. Go ahead and bring your hands to prayer at your heart. You're going to now swivel that back heel down just like it was in the warrior one position, and open your hips up to the side into warrior two. So now your front knee remains bent over the top of that ankle. Your right arm is extended out in front of you, left arm out behind you, both at shoulder level. See if you can sink your hips down a bit, tuck your tailbone under, and just stay there for a couple of breaths. Your gaze can be out in front of that front arm, or just straight ahead, either way. Keeping that front knee bent, you're just going to reverse your warrior, so that left arm is going to come to this back leg, and your right arm is going to come overhead. Again, keeping that front knee bent. Just take one breath there. And then come back up into your warrior two. Now we're going to do side angle. So you can either bring your front elbow to your front knee, or if that feels okay, you can go ahead and place that right hand inside that right foot. You're trying to rotate your chest up toward the sky. You try to stack your left shoulder over the top of your right shoulder. Your left arm can come up to the sky, or it can come up by your ear. If that feels fine, you can bind there. So you take your right arm and tuck it underneath that right leg, and take your left arm behind and grab your hands. Just a couple more breaths here. Whatever position you're in, think about trying to open your chest up toward the sky. If your hands are bound, go ahead and unbind, unravel yourself, and come back up into warrior two. Sink your hips down. Now, rotate on that back foot so you're back up in crescent again with your hips facing forward. You're going to slowly come up to standing, so you can lean your belly forward over the top of that front leg, push gently off of that back leg, come up to standing and bring your left knee with you. And just take a breath here. Now, you're going to drop that left knee to meet your right knee, keeping your heel up toward your bottom, and then take your left hand to your left foot or ankle, and you're just going to go into Natarajasana. So your right arm up to the sky. You're going to try to push that left ankle into your left hand so that you can lift that leg up. I'm going to move back a little bit. And if this is it for you, that's perfectly fine. If you can go a little deeper, you try to bring that left leg up. And again, you're pushing the hand and the foot into each other. Your front leg is straight if you can. Wherever you are, try to just come back to standing. Put that left knee forward again. And slowly and gently take that left leg to the back of your mat, back into your warrior two position. And on your next exhale, you're going to bring your hands on either side of that right foot. Take the right foot to the back of the mat. Come into a push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. One more big breath here. On your next exhale, take your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward. Bring your left foot forward and fold. Inhaling, come all the way up to standing with your arms over your head, and then bring your hands to prayer at the heart. We'll repeat all that on the other side. So inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Exhaling, left leg goes to the back of the mat. Right leg goes to the back of the mat, and you're in plank. So this time, we're just going to do 5 push-ups. So you're going to keep your body flat if you can. If you need to put your knees down, that's totally fine. You're going to keep your elbows at your sides as you gently come down. And then extend your arms and push back up. That's 1. And come down and up. Down and up. 2 more. Down and up. 1 more. Down and up, and push back into downward facing dog. Take your left leg to the sky, bring your left foot forward, rotate your right heel down, coming up, keep that back heel up, coming up into crescent. So again, your left thigh parallel to the earth, left knee over the top of your ankle, back leg is straight with the heel pointed up toward the sky. Try to drop your hips down toward the ground so you can get that front thigh parallel to the earth. Your hips are facing forward. Your hands can come up to the sky and they can be clasped or not, and we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Try not to lean forward, so you're not bringing your knee all the way towards your toes. It really should be over the top of your ankle. One more breath. Now go ahead and swivel that back heel down and open your hips up to the side. You may need to inch that back foot back just a little bit, coming into warrior 2 on this side. So your front knee remains bent with the knee over the top of the ankle. Your hips are open to the side. Your back leg is straight and your toes are pointed slightly in or maybe straight in front of you. Your arms are at shoulder level. Left arm in front of you, right arm behind you. And your gaze is either extended beyond that front arm or straight in front of you. Think about tucking your tailbone under. See if you can get just a little bit lower. One more breath. On your next exhale, take your right arm to your back leg, keeping your front knee bent. Raise your left arm up over your ear. Look back. And then come back up into warrior 2. And now we're going to do side angle on this side. So you can place your left elbow on top of your left thigh, or if that feels okay, you can bring your left hand on the inside of your left foot. Bring your right arm either up to the sky or over your ear. Trying to stack your right shoulder over the top of your left shoulder. And if you bound on the other side, go ahead and bind here. So you can take your left arm underneath that front thigh, take your other arm behind, and grab your hands. Just a couple more breaths here. Try to keep your chest opening toward the sky. Your front knee remains bent. Back leg is straight. One more breath. And exhaling, come back up into warrior 2. Now, rotate that back heel forward. And now we're going to come forward to standing. So you can lean your chest over your front thigh, push gently off your back leg, and bring that right knee up towards your chest. So now you're standing on your left leg with your right knee up in front of you. Now we're going to do that same thing on this side in Udarajasana. So you're going to drop that knee so that your knees are next to each other with your heel up towards your bottom. You're going to take your right arm and grab your right foot or your ankle. You're going to slowly hinge forward, bringing that back ankle into your hand and your hand pushing into your back ankle. Your left arm is going to come out in front of you. And again, you can be here, and that's fine. If that feels okay to you and you want to go a little bit more, you drop your chest forward and then push your ankle into your hand, keeping that left leg straight with your gaze out in front of you. One more breath. And slowly and gently come back up to standing. Bring your right knee with you. And then gently and slowly take that right knee to the back of your mat. You're back in warrior two. And windmill the hands on either side of that foot. Take your left leg to the back of the mat. Come down into push-up position. Inhaling to upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. Two more breaths. On your next exhale, take your left leg up to the sky. Bring your left foot forward. Bring your right foot forward and fold. And inhaling, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to prayer at the heart. Inhaling, look up, lift your arms up, and exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up, take your right leg to the back of the mat. Take the left leg to the back of the mat. And now just come onto your forearms. So you're going to put your forearms down on the ground. I'm going to go sideways. So forearm plank. Your body is still flat, just like in a regular plank. But now instead of being on your hands, your weight is on your forearms in front of you. You're still kind of sucking your belly in, pushing your belly button up towards your spine, but trying to keep your body basically flat. You notice my hips aren't way up here. They're also not sagging down. They're just flat. And usually I tend to look down. I suppose you could look in front of you. Some people like to clasp their elbows with their hands. I just tend to keep my hands straight in front of me, because that's what you do in forearm balance anyway, so it's a good practice. Anybody feeling anything yet? I don't know, another like 10 seconds maybe. All right, come on up onto your hands. Whew. And push your bottom back into downward facing dog. You come forward into plank again. And now you're going to drop your body all the way down to the ground. You can just take a second there and exhale relief that you're just laying on the ground for a second. Okay, now we're going to go into Shalabhasana. So you're going to take your arms alongside your body. You can just keep them there, or if you can reach, which is challenging for some people depending on their shoulders, If you can reach behind and clasp your hands together, then do that. But if not, you can just keep your hands alongside your body. Whatever you're gonna do, go ahead and do it, and then we're gonna come up on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna lift your chest up, and if you can, lift your legs up off the ground too. If your hands are clasped, try to bring them up off of your bottom, which can be hard. And just stay there for a couple of breaths. And relax all the way down. You can turn a cheek onto the mat if you like. And now you can either do that same thing again, Shalabhasana, or if that felt okay, bring your left foot towards your buttocks, bring your right foot towards your buttocks, grab your feet, same hand, same foot, or ankles, or shins, whatever is available to you. Try not to have your knees go way splayed out. Try to keep them kind of close-ish together, which can be challenging. And then we're gonna lift up. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go! So you're bringing your chest up, bringing your thighs off the ground, pushing your feet, your ankles, your shins, whatever you got a hold of, into your arms, and you're looking up. One more breath. And exhale. All the way down. If you put one cheek down last time, turn your head the other way and put the other cheek down. All right, now, from where you are, bring your hands next to your chest. Tuck your toes under so your heels are pointed up to the sky. Suck in everything, your belly, your hips, your thighs, everything. And push up to chaturanga. And then push up to plank. Let's just try that again. Come all the way down to the ground. Hands are right next to your chest. Tuck your toes under. And just come up to chaturanga. And then all the way up to plank. And push back to downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward. Bring your left foot forward and fold. Inhaling, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to prayer. Okay, we're gonna go to our little piece of wall now. So I'm gonna go here. We're gonna do a couple different things. So the first one, and you're just gonna watch me first and then do it, okay? So the first one, you can take your arms out in front of you with your thumbs pointed up. Let me just turn on the light because it's a little gloomy here. I don't know if it'll help, but. Okay, so thumbs, actually I'm sorry, hands flat to the wall at shoulder level. Now I typically walk my feet back just a little bit. And now you're gonna drop your head through in between your arms, like you're trying to get your chest down to the ground. So if you need to, you can bend your knees, because this is not a hamstring exercise, okay? So if your hamstrings are limiting you, just bend your knees. And you can even start that way and then see if you can push your legs straight. But the goal is to get your upper body to be parallel to the earth, and your hands should be coming down in between your arms. It should feel like a nice stretch in your shoulders and your underarms. And you're pushing your hips back away from the wall. You can stay there for, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, and then come out and then try again. Yeah, don't kill yourself on it. Take a break. And then if you took a break, go ahead and maybe try one more time. So again, you're gonna put your hands kind of at shoulder level-ish, pushing your palms flat into the wall, and then try to drop your chest and your head in between your upper arms, reaching down toward the ground. You should feel your shoulder blades like really squeezing behind you. Okay, wherever you are, come on out of that. Okay, now we're gonna do another one. So this one, you're gonna keep your arms straight in front of you and try to keep them shoulder distance apart. If you have a block, that can sometimes help remind you of what the distance is. And we're gonna place our arms like this up on the wall, and then we're gonna try to bring our chest to the wall. So I place my hands just kind of a little bit above, I guess, maybe a foot above shoulder level, but everybody's different, so you can find what works for you. My feet are closer here than they are in the last exercise. And then I usually bend my knees, bring my chest toward the wall, and then keeping my chin off of the wall. And then straighten the legs behind me. So if you bend your knees first, that just lets you get a little bit deeper. And if you can't straighten your knees after that, that's okay too. You can keep your knees bent the whole time. But the idea is to bring the chest toward the wall and keep your chin off of the wall. And if that feels good where you are, you're like, hey, this is easy, then push your hips back more, drop your chest down more. Push your hips back more, drop your chest down more. Until you find, should be a pretty deep stretch in your, like the lower part of your shoulders, like just under your scapula and in your lower back. And again, you can keep your knees bent if you need to. And take a break. And just do one more time, wherever you are. All right. Wherever you are, go ahead and come out of that. Okay, we have just a couple more things at the wall. So now we're gonna work on just our hip flexors. So what you're gonna do, one of these we've done before, but then there'll be a couple new things. So you're gonna start in a lunge position up against the wall. So you're gonna take your foot and just place the ball of your foot or even your entire foot, either way, up against the wall. Pick whichever foot you want to start. We're gonna do both sides. And you're gonna bring the other foot, so right now for me, this is my right leg that's in front, my left leg is pushing against the baseboard. And you're gonna just stay here and think about pushing the front knee back and bringing your back knee forward. So they're kind of juxtaposed and you're tucking your tailbone under. So we'll do that first. And then after that, we'll do that on both sides. Then we'll take this back leg up the wall because we're going to come forward onto our chest eventually. So I'll explain that in a second. So let's just do this first one first. So pick whichever leg you want and go ahead and put the foot up against the baseboard and bring your other foot out in front, kind of like in a deep lunge. Okay, I think everybody's there. So now we're gonna think about pushing that front knee back, but you're not really gonna move it. You're gonna think about engaging to bring that front leg back and that back hip forward. So you get that tension. Suck your belly button in, tuck your bottom under, and you should feel a really nice stretch in your psoas on the leg that's behind. And then relax those muscles and then just gently kind of push forward. It should give you a nice release forward. For a couple of breaths. And we'll do that again. So you're going to engage, you're going to push that front leg forward or back a little bit, bring that back leg pushing forward a little bit, tucking your tailbone under, engaging your belly button in, and we'll stay there for a few breaths. And then release that tension and see if you can gently get your hips down a little bit lower. And we'll do that one more time. When you're ready, go ahead and engage. So you're going to gently think about pushing that front knee and front hip back, bringing that back hip forward, tucking your tailbone under, sucking your belly button in, and stay here for a couple of breaths. And release forward. By the way, I should have said if you're on hardwood, put something underneath that knee, that back knee, or else it's going to be sore. Okay, push your hips back. Gentle hamstring stretch on whichever leg is in front. You can flex that foot towards you. Try to keep your back flat. And go ahead and swing that foot around. So now take the opposite foot to that baseboard. Again, if you need some padding under that knee, go ahead and get it. Bring the other leg out in front, so whichever side you didn't just do, you're in this kind of extended lunge. And we're going to do the same thing. So think about pushing that front knee and hip back while you're engaging that back hip and knee forward, tucking your tailbone under, and sucking your belly button in. We're going to do that for a few breaths. And then release and see if you can drop your hips down just a little bit. And again, push that front leg back, bring your back leg forward a little bit. This is more how you're engaging your muscles rather than actual physical movement. And then you're tucking your belly button in and your tailbone under. A couple more breaths. It should feel hard. If it doesn't feel hard, let me know. And then drop forward. One more time. Engaging the front leg, pushing back, back leg pushing forward, tucking your tailbone under. You really should feel this in a deep stretch in the psoas. One more big breath here. And then drop your hips forward. And then go ahead and straighten that front leg, getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch. You can bring those front toes back towards you, flexing that foot. Try to keep your back flat. All right. So now I'm going to go with my right leg, which is the leg closest to you, toward the wall or up against the baseboard. So that's the same position it was just in. I'm going to bring my hands in front, just underneath my shoulders. If you bring them out a little bit further, it'll be easier. So if you keep them just under, it's a little bit harder. This back leg, so for me, my left leg is going to go up against the wall. You can tuck your toes under, or you can keep the foot flat, flexed. Wherever you are, you're going to try, you're going to try to push, I don't even know if you see any movement at all. I'm trying to push my hips back toward the wall. Now it's a little bit easier, I'll be honest, if you've got socks on, because that foot will slide. I've got socks over here. Because that foot can slide up the wall a little bit easier. Not necessary, but it'll make you feel a little better maybe. Let me just show you that. So, again, my right leg up against the wall. Left foot goes up. And then I can push back I don't know, maybe it doesn't look any different to you, but it feels a little bit deeper to me. So whether you've got a sock, whether you're doing flex foot, flat foot, either way, one foot is up against the baseboard and the other leg is extending up on the wall. And you're trying to push your hips back toward the wall behind you. You're not trying to come forward, although flexibility is definitely a challenge. Yeah, so if your foot is flat on the wall, then that's where the weight should be. You should really feel like that. For me, in this case, my left foot, like my left foot is really pushing hard into the wall. And my left foot is pushing really hard into the wall, and then my hands are pushing really hard into the ground to try to get my hips back. Okay, wherever you are, you can bring that leg down and just sit for a second on your heels. Give your hips a little break. And now we're going to do the other side, so come forward again. So now for me, it's my left foot that's up against the baseboard. My hands are under my shoulders. I'm going to take that right leg up the wall behind me and think about pushing my hips back. So you're not, by the way, trying to open this hip out to the side, trying to keep the hips flat, square down to the ground. Pushing a lot of weight onto the top of my right foot right now, and then pushing a lot of weight with my hands into the ground. You can take a break. If you want, we stayed on the other side for a while, so you can keep going, or you can take a break and then go back up. Okay, go ahead and bring that leg down. Sit on your heels. We have just one more little variation to do. All right, so back to whichever side you did first. So for me, my right foot is up against the base of the wall. My hands are still going to be out in front under my shoulders. My left leg is going to go up, and now I'm going to bring my weight forward and try to bring that leg forward with me, which is often harder than it looks. So it's a lot of engagement in your lower back and your upper buttock to bring that leg all the way forward. So go ahead and give that a try. Let's see how people are doing. So you're coming forward onto your arms, and if you can, you bring that chest onto the ground. Marielle, that looks good. Yeah, see if you can manage, it's hard, but see if you can manage to keep that top leg straight as it's coming away from the wall. Just really think about engaging your quadriceps. And if it's too much, then staying on that last pose is really good. The last thing that we did, because that'll open everything up for you. All right, go ahead and push, extend your arms, bring that leg back down to the ground, sit back for just a second. And now we'll do the other side. So again, coming forward. For me now, it's my left foot up against the baseboard. And take my right leg up the wall behind me. I'm going to lean forward, bend my arms, bring my chest to the ground, and then bring my right leg up away from the wall. And again, it's a lot of engagement in the lower back and the upper buttocks. Try not to rotate that hip open. Yeah, bring that hip square toward the ground. So your hips should be even with each other. You don't want one side flaring up. All right, wherever you are, go ahead and extend your arms. Then bring that leg down. And maybe just take a little child's pose here. All right. Go ahead and come up to standing and come back to the top of your mat. If you had socks on, you can leave them on or you can take them off however you like. So at the top of your mat, inhaling, arms up over your head, exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, look up. Take your left foot to the back of the mat. Take your right foot to the back of the mat. Just do 3 push-ups here. Slowly come down and push up. Come down and push up. Then come down and push up and push back into downward facing dog. Now, take your left leg to the sky, bring your left foot forward, bring your right foot forward and fold. And inhaling, come all the way up to standing. Now, people had wanted to do some arm balances, so we're gonna just for a minute or two work on flying pigeons. So take your right leg and cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh, okay? So this is where my knee is. My ankle is up north of my ankle, my knee, sorry. So above my knee. If you're down here, it won't work. Now, if this is feeling like a lot of stretch in this outer hip, then stay here or do tree, and that'll help open up all of that. But if this feels fine, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit your bottom down like you're sitting in a chair, like we did in Utkatasana a million times. Then you're gonna lean forward and try to get your shin, I don't know if you can see that there, your shin into your armpits. You see that? So my knee, this is for me, my left leg, and this is my left armpit. And then on the other side, the foot is wrapping around my tricep on my right arm. So this is what it looks like from the front. And then you're trying to get your hands flat to the earth. Now, if that's a flexibility issue, then just work on that. Or again, you can come up in tree and just stay in tree. But actually, you know, because this other leg, the leg that's behind is bent, it's easier to get into than if you keep that leg straight. So here you are, folded over with your foot wrapped around your tricep on one side and the knee pushed into the armpit on the other side. Then, like every other arm balance, you're gonna come forward. And then you're gonna lift that back leg up. But it's the come forward that's the trick. So I'm gonna show it from the side. So I'm creating like a shelf for my left leg, and then my right leg can come up behind. And pretty much at any step in there, wherever you get stuck, you can just work on that. So if you're here and you're just working on this stretch, this is a really good stretch for this outer hip. And you can work on just bending that knee, the front knee a little bit more to get a deeper stretch on that outer hip. Ken, that looks good. Can you come forward a little bit? Yeah, just like that. It is, by the way, like everything else in life, a lot of core engagement. So as you're leaning forward, if all you do is rely on this leg to push into the arms, then you collapse down as soon as you try to lift this leg up. But you have to think about, as you're coming forward, using your abs to engage and bring that leg up and behind. If you don't engage your core, it just is never going to happen. just like everything else. All right, go ahead and try your other side if you haven't already. So again, it's like, for me now, this is my right leg. My right ankle is gonna cross my left thigh above my knee. First thing I'm gonna do is to try to fold over and get my right foot outside my left tricep, my right knee into my right armpit, and then see if I can get my hands flat on the earth. That's the first thing. And the more you bend the back leg, the easier it is to get your hands flat. And then you just lean forward. Okay, so it is, not trying to mislead anyone, there is a lot of push from my shin into my arms. That definitely does happen, but you just can't rely only on that. You have to do that push and then also engage your core to get that other leg up behind you. I hope the people with their cameras off are doing okay. Let me know if you have any questions. Everyone's working really hard though, I love it. That's what we're here for. Okay, take like another 10 seconds. Finish up whatever you're trying to accomplish today in that pose. And then come back to your mat. We still have to do, oh my gosh, so many things in so little time. All right, oh, somebody has a question. Zero strength in your arms. You will get it. Just keep coming. All those vinyasas, that builds strength. Every push-up that you were doing is part, the chaturangas, the upward dogs, all of that. The strength will come. You're doing all the right things. This is not, so yoga, handstands, all that stuff. People ask me a lot of questions about like forearm balances and stuff. Okay, none of that stuff is happening like today, unfortunately. It's not like memorizing the Krebs cycle, which a lot of us did, and you literally could do that in a day. But you can't, none of this stuff happens in a day. You can't get flying pigeon typically in a day. You can't get a handstand. I've been really working seriously on handstands for like a year, and I still am super frustrated with my handstands. So it's just long-term, something to work toward. Don't be too hard on yourself. You'll get there. Okay, back to what we got left in our practice. So we've got our best part, core, to do now, and then we're almost done. Okay, so we're gonna do a few things today for our core. Let's start with something we're familiar with. So Navasana. So you're gonna start either with your legs bent or your legs straight. And you're trying to keep your spine relatively upright. And then we're gonna slowly come down, and you're gonna extend your legs in front of you, bring your shoulders toward the ground, but not all the way down. Then you can bring your arms up behind you, and then we're going to slowly sit back up. Again, your legs can be bent or they can be straight, either way. So do it with me whenever you're ready. We'll start with the easier version, I guess, but you can feel free to do a little harder one if you want. So go ahead and exhale, slowly come down, keeping your lower back toward the ground. And if you like, you can bring your arms up overhead, and then slowly and gently come up with your legs straight or your legs bent. Either way, we'll do that a couple more times. So slowly come down, pushing your lower back to the ground. Your legs don't have to come all the way down, by the way. If your back starts to come off of the ground, don't bring your legs any lower. Then you can bring your arms up overhead, and then slowly come back up. Again, knees can be bent or straight. Let's do it again. Slowly come down. And slowly come back up. 2 more times, slowly come down. And slowly come up. 1 more time. Slowly come down. and slowly come up. Now, we're going to do this kind of funny thing. You're going to start just like this. So you're just sitting up. To me, this is a pretty comfy position. Like I might hang out like this. Your knees are bent. Your feet are on the ground. You're going to slowly, as you curve your back, bring your back down to the ground. And then you're going to extend your legs up to the sky in the straddle position. And then you're going to bring your upper body up. And then come back to the same position we started in. So you are curving your back down, extending your legs up, and then trying to sit back up. Now, if that's really hard, if you bring your hands, when you go down, if you bring your hands behind you, that'll give you momentum to sit up. I'm purposefully not doing that so that I have to really engage my core as I come up. And you notice there's not a lot of flailing, right? So we're trying to do this all slow and controlled. Yeah. Just do a couple of those, a couple more of those at your own pace. Maybe, I don't know, one more. All right, so now, from where you are, your feet should be on the ground, your knees are bent. You're just gonna lay back, almost like you're gonna go into a bridge. So you might wanna bring your hips closer to your ankles. See if you can touch your heels with the middle finger of your hands. And then from this position, we're gonna go side to side. So I'm gonna try to bring my left hand to touch my left toes, my right hand to touch my right toes, and I'm going to keep going like this. So my shoulders are off the ground, but my hips and my low back are on the ground, and you're just going side to side at your own pace. Trying to reach your toes on the sides. A few more. Just a couple more seconds. Oof. All right, last one. Now, one more thing we're gonna do. So you're gonna lay on your back, and if you can, just bring your feet straight up toward the sky. And now your arms are at your sides. You're gonna try to gently and slowly bring your legs up over your head like you're going into plow. But you're not using like a lot of push and momentum to just like get yourself there aggressively. You're just keeping your legs straight and trying to really engage in your core and gently get your feet to the ground if you can, or even just hovering is fine. And then slowly bring your back to the ground. Now, if you like, you can do it with knees bent. I actually think it's harder, but you can do it with knees bent, and then you're only going to come to here with your knees to your forehead, and then slowly come back down. Now, the more you push in your arms, the less you're doing with your core, so just keep that in mind. And just go back and forth. A few more times. Just remember, you're trying to keep everything slow and controlled. It's not a race to see how many you can do. All right, maybe one more. And then go ahead and bring your legs all the way down to the ground. And then go ahead and sit up. All right, we have time for one back bend. So we did all this stuff, all the shoulder opening, all the hip opening has really got us in like perfect position for a back bend. So if there's something you've tried to do before and you've struggled, this might be the time to try it because we've really opened up all the appropriate muscle groups. So I'm going to give you some options in case you don't have anything you're too excited about. So camel is the first one. So you're on your knees. Knees are about hip distance apart. You're pushing your hips forward. Okay, you're not collapsing your hips back. You're pushing your hips forward. And if you can keep your hands with your fingers pointed upward on your bottom. And that's good. If that feels fine, you can drop your hands onto your heels. Just remember to keep pushing your hips forward. I mean, if you're really flexible, you can just get your hands to the ground behind you in that position. Something like that. But you got to keep your hips forward. So those are some camel variations. If that feels like that's a sufficient challenge for you, stick with that. Otherwise, if you want to go up into wheel, this is a good time to do it. If you've got socks on, I recommend taking them off. The easiest way to get into wheel is to lay on the ground with your feet close to your hips. You bring your hands up next to your shoulders with your fingers pointing towards your own hips. So they're not pointing away from your head. They're pointing down towards your own body. With your elbows up toward the sky, you push into your hands and come onto the top of your head. And then push into your hands and come all the way up onto your hands and your feet. And your goal is to try to bring your shoulders over your hands. You're not way back here. That's really hard. You're trying to come here. And you can walk your feet in. You can walk your hands in. Whatever you need to do to make it feel like a good stretch. And then slowly and gently come out. Laura, can you push your chest towards your hands more on your next one, whenever you next try? Try to push your chest towards your wrists. Morgan, can you push your hips forward more? Yeah, and you can come up onto the balls of your toes to bring your heels up a little bit. Like this, they don't have to be flat down. So if that helps, you can do that. Yeah, so Laura, push into your feet to push your weight toward your, yes, work on that. Yep, but that was the right idea. All right, last like 20 seconds, whatever you're working on. And then go ahead and come back to your mat. We'll do just a gentle spinal twist here. So you can do it on the ground if you like. I kind of like seated spinal twist. So go ahead and so come into a seated position on your mat. Bend your right leg so your right foot is right underneath your left buttock. And then take your left foot and put it outside of your right knee. Let me move back a little bit. There you go. Like this position. And now there's a million ways to do this. What I like to do is I like to take the knee that's in front and hug it in with my opposite arm. So like I'm hugging my own leg. And then take my other hand behind. So if I'm mirroring you, this is my left leg. This is my right arm that's hugging my left leg. And then my right hand is behind. And then I'm looking behind me. And I'm trying to keep this buttock, the left buttock, down onto the ground. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then go ahead and face forward, release that knee, and then switch your legs around. So your left knee is going to be bent with your left foot underneath your right buttock. Your right foot comes out on the other side of your left knee. Left arm comes up, and again, I like to hug my knee and place my right hand behind me and look behind me for just a couple of breaths. And go ahead and face forward. You can maybe shake your legs out in front of you, extending both legs out in front, and then go ahead and slowly and gently come onto your back for Shavasana. If you prefer to stay seated, you're welcome to do so. We're just going to take a couple of minutes here, so try not to think about all the other things that want to intrude into your thoughts right now. Stay with where you are, stay with your breath. Focus on just breathing in and out. Slow, deep breaths. Go ahead and start moving your toes and your fingers. You start moving your wrists around and your ankles. And then move your legs and your arms a little bit. Maybe stretch your arms up overhead. Give yourself a big stretch. And you can bend your knees coming onto your side and then gently push yourself up into a seated position. Thank you for joining the class today. What a crazy, stressful time that we're in, but hopefully, I don't know, you got something out of this time, and have only good thoughts for what needs to happen in the world today and moving forward. But if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And otherwise, I did have a couple of people donated to my cause, I guess, to help support this work. So you know who you are. Thank you for doing that. If you feel moved to do so, it's not at all required, but I will just put my Venmo in here. There, it's in the chat. So if you feel like donating, you're welcome to, but no need to. And otherwise, everyone have a lovely weekend, and namaste.